everybody. Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are going to be reviewing two movies. The one is called The Wretched, and the other is called Becky. Both we watched on Amazon streaming services. FYI, neither film was free, so if you're interested, you may have to pay for them. But before we get into that, how's everything going with you today, Jason?
Good. I'm a little tired because I had to prep for a big meeting tomorrow, work meeting. So I feel sort of prepared, sort of not prepared.
Boo.
But I found time to watch Mad Max while I was at it, so that works.
Well, you weren't that busy then. So let's.
I was busy except for that hour and 33 minutes. So that's my lunch break.
Yeah, well, you got time to watch a whole movie. You can't be that busy.
Hey, man, that's my 1 hour lunch break and my 2 15-minute
You weren't that stressed out about it. Let's put it that way. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. Let me watch this hour and a half movie real quick in between all this presentation I have to do.
That's like I said, it's my 1 hour lunch break and my two 15-minute breaks all together at once. So it helped. So, hey, man, what can you say? But yeah, otherwise I'm good. Not much changes these days. Still working from home, still staying home. Wear your masks, people, if you go out.
Please. Well, it's required now, so you can't even go into stores, apparently. I was in Rayleigh's today, and they have the signs up that say you can't come in without the mask, but then I saw like at least 4 or 5 people walking around the store with no mask on.
They have the signs up, but they're not bothering to enforce it. So
so they're still not really enforcing it. There are a few stores that are doing, and I was told I know of at least one Walmart where they have a person outside that's actually sending people away if they don't have a mask on. They're saying if you don't have a mask on, you can't come inside. So some stores are, some aren't. It's just, so I don't know. It's just like this whole COVID situation. It's kind of topsy-turvy, and it just depends on what store you're at, where you're at, what city you're in. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. So but
I don't get it. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I don't want to catch it. I don't want to give it to anybody. So just put it on your face for a few minutes. What's the big
deal? As simple as that.
Yeah.
Just that simple. Wearing a cloth for a couple minutes in the store is not going to kill you. So wear your mask. So, well, enough of all that, I guess. Let's get into it.
Well, you didn't say how you're doing. Well, how are you doing, Kier?
Well, then let's not get into it. I'm doing all right. Same scenario, like I said, just still working. Still, like I said, dealing with the mask situation. We have to wear masks in our office now. So like anytime you basically leave your desk or office or cubicle or whatever, you have to put a mask on. So if you're in any common areas or like the break room, the bathrooms, any of that stuff, they want you wearing a mask anywhere you go. So you can basically only sit at your own desk without a mask on. So it's kind of hard to remember to do that every single time you get up. So that's kind of an issue, you know what I mean? Because how many times in a day are you getting up to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water, or you know what I mean? Like there's all different reasons why you get up. Somebody calls you over for something, you got to hang on, let me run back to my desk and get my mask. So it's a little hard to remember all that stuff every once in a while, but it's not too bad. So
yeah. Well, when I go to work, there's only like 3 other people there. So
there's not a lot of people in the office.
Hard to remember. Not that hard.
It's not a whole lot of people, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Now
now let's get into it. So we're going to start with the first film, and I'm going to let you take that one, and that is The Wretched. There it is.
Cool. All right. I have not seen that poster. That's a different poster than the one I've seen. Cool.
Good. I'm glad you haven't seen it.
Yeah. So The Wretched is first of all, these are both horror movies.
Yes.
Kind of connected. Also, they're kind of connected accidentally. They're both the main characters are both teenagers, and they're it's a teenager faces off against evil, basically, is the storyline. So you can kind of say the two movies we're reviewing are connected in that way. It may be a reach, I don't know, but I like it anyway.
They both are horror movies. One's more supernatural, the one's more realistic, but they both are horror movies. So
yes. So the Wretched is about a 16-year-old kid who is staying with his father. His parents are split up. He's staying with his father for probably the summer, I think. And he what's the best way to describe it? So it's about the evil in this movie is like a kind of witch demon thing that possesses people and causes them to eat other people, basically children. So that is the main point of this movie. And then, man, I'm not describing this very good, am I?
I would concur.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't have very good notes this time. So let me just say that I like this movie a whole lot. It reminded
Don't worry about what it's about, man. Yeah. Jason loved it.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Fright Night. That should be enough for a lot of people. It reminded me a lot about Fright Night because the main character is a teenager who notices something weird going on at the neighbors, and people start disappearing. He's using the binoculars. He's noticing strange bags being taken out of the basement, and he's trying to convince other people that his neighbor has been possessed by this child-eating demon. Or, well, he doesn't know that yet, but he thinks something's wrong with the neighbor, and kids are disappearing, and strange things are happening, and he's watching it from afar. He's got kind of a girlfriend, that kind of adds the romance factor, like in Fright Night. So I didn't explain it very well, but I really enjoyed this movie a whole lot. I think it's a good, simple, efficient horror movie. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of Fright Night. The characters are really well developed and well acted. Again, it's not like a character drama, so you're not going to get like a whole lot of character development, but you're going to get enough that you actually care about these people, and that makes it actually suspenseful. Like toward the end, I was actually like kind of sitting forward in my seat because I didn't know how it was going to all turn out exactly. At that point, I was invested in the characters, and I didn't want them to, I didn't want them to get eaten, So, but I really enjoyed this movie. The performances are good. The acting is good. It is suspenseful. It's just a good, simple, efficient 90-minute get in and get out horror movie. That it's probably one that I will definitely be revisiting every once in a while because it was a lot of fun. So I didn't do a terribly good job synopsizing it. I thought I had it in here, but I guess I didn't. But I basically, if you like Fright Night, if you like horror movies, I highly recommend this movie. I liked it a lot. What about you?
Cool. Yeah, I liked it overall. I don't think I loved it maybe as much as sounds like you did. I liked a lot of it. There was some very suspenseful moments. There's definitely some holes in some of the logic with the I mean, it's basically like a kind of like a witch kind of thing, and there's like some things where like, it possesses bodies, but it eats children. Sometimes it takes children to the woods. Sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of, I don't know. There was a lot of things that I was like, well, why would you need to do that if you don't need to do it in this scenario and that kind of stuff. So there was definitely some plot holes there. There's some things that were not explained. There was kind of a twist a little bit towards the end that like didn't completely add up in my opinion, but because it didn't make any sense in the beginning of the film, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like there was a scene in the beginning of the film, and then there's kind of like some sort of twist that happens towards the latter part of the film that like it felt like just kind of thrown in there because I was like, how does that even make sense? But it's just one of those things where they try to be cutesy, and I don't think that 100% paid off for me. The film as a whole, it wasn't bad. It's one that you could definitely check out. It's only, like you said, a 90-minute running time, but there's definitely some holes in the film in my opinion. But overall, not a bad film. So it's my general feeling about it. So
yeah, I guess
you overlooked it as always.
No. I mean, that's the way I watch movies. Like, I guess there's probably plot holes in a lot of movies that I like, but if a movie can get my attention and get me invested in the people and the situation, I'm in. You know what I mean? Like, I might notice little things that, oh, why not this or this? But
in fairness, if it's horror movies, you tend to overlook a lot of things, I feel like.
I think any movie, like if any kind of genre movies, whether it's sci-fi or action, if I'm invested in it, if it's got my attention, if I'm interested in the story and the characters, I don't really care. I mean, like it's all fantasy, none of the things that happen in this movie are possible anyway. So I don't know.
I don't know that. I don't know that would be true. You know, I don't
Well,
know.
that's true. There might be witch demons possessing people in the forest.
Yeah.
You know,
And I don't know. There were some
not to find out.
Yeah, and there were a lot of unexplained things. Like there's like a scene from like the 80s in the beginning, and then I'm like, and then it kind of fast forwards to like current day, and I'm like, well, what was this thing doing for like the last 20, 30 years, 40 years? You know what I mean? I was like, kind of, it was, I don't know. There was just some things that I had some issues with that didn't quite add up or didn't quite make sense. But I don't know. I guess if you go into it and you want to forgive all those things, then, you know, it just depends on who you are. But I noticed those things, and those things definitely, I think, distracted from, you know, the enjoyment of the film. So, but overall, not a bad film. I didn't dislike it or anything like that. It just, I don't know. Probably won't revisit it personally. So
yeah, well, you know, you don't
especially with it not, especially since it wasn't free. So
I'll purchase this one. I'll purchase.
Really?
This one. I had a lot of I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, and it's, you know, you don't generally know how to have fun with movies, clearly. So
I know. I love having fun with a lot of movies, and this just wasn't one that I would rewatch or purchase personally. So, yeah, I mean, it did remind me. It was kind of like a watered down version of Fright Night or The Burbs or any of those other films where, you know, the next door neighbor's up to something shady or whatever case may be. There's thousands of films that are like that are better that you can watch. So, you know, with creepy neighbors that are up to no good. You know what I mean? There's tons of films that are like that, you know, in some capacity. And this was just kind of another one along those same veins that was, you know, obviously more of a horror movie. But there, like I said, there's quite a few there. And, you know, like, there was another one with Shia LaBeouf where like the next door neighbor was like killing women. Yeah, that's another one that's similar to this one. You know what I mean? There's all these films where, like, you know, of course, nobody believes the kid that there's something going on with these creepy neighbors next door. I mean, that story's been told 1,000 times. And this one is, like I said, there wasn't anything I felt like overly original about it. There was just a lot of same similarities to a lot of those other films rolled into one. And most of those other films are better, in my opinion. So
I don't think a movie has to be original to be good.
I didn't say that, but it's just, you know, that's just one of the extra things that I can pinpoint about it, that there was nothing necessarily about it that I would feel that I would need to revisit because it was so influenced by some of those other films, I guess, if you will. So that are better, in my opinion. I mean, we can both,
Disturbia is better?
I would say so. I'd rather watch Disturbia over this one. Yeah. I'd rather watch Fright Night. I'd rather watch The Burbs. I'd rather watch Disturbia. Almost any other movie where the next door neighbor's a creep, I'd probably rather watch. Oh, maybe the Fright Night remake. I'd rather watch this one over that one, probably. So
I actually like the Fright Night remake.
Yeah, I probably would go with this one over that. So
yeah,
that's just me.
All right, that's good.
Cool. But overall, not terrible. If you want to shell out, what was it? $3.99, $6.99.
I think this one was $7.
Yeah, if you want to shell out $7 to watch The Wretched, then by all means.
I say it's worth it.
I say maybe not. So,
right.
It would have been a lot better if it was free. That's what I say.
Most things would be.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, moving on to Becky. Becky is an interesting horror movie. It's obviously more I guess realistic, if you will, and it also is it stars Lulu Wilson, who I've seen in a few things. I don't know her all that well. She's obviously a teenage girl. It also stars Kevin James as a bad guy, which is very original for him. I don't think I've seen him in a bad. It's kind of weird seeing Paul Blart as a bad guy.
Yeah.
The basic story is, and it kind of takes place basically over one day, is that basically in this film, Kevin James is actually a skinhead, like Nazi prisoner who actually, with the help of friends, escapes from prison. And, and then the other half of the story is basically Becky, who's the girl in the film, the main star, and her father in this film is actually Joel McHale, which is kind of strange, but her father's Joel McHale. And basically, obviously their relationship is strained. Her mother's passed away, and her father has basically kind of moved on and has a new girlfriend now who also has a little kid who seems like Becky doesn't really jive with the whole 100%. And they basically go to their cabin in the woods, I guess, if you will. I don't know exactly where that place is at that they're staying at, but
Vacation home or
yeah,
something.
vacation home, something of that nature. However, that vacation home also, I guess, has like this key or property that Kevin James's character is looking for whatever reason, and I don't want to give into spoilers, but there's not really a huge spoiler in that. But he's looking for this key that's in their house, and basically kind of comes over and kind of takes the family hostage with his goons. Becky was not in the house at that time, and so basically, and she ends up having the key that he's looking for, and so basically, it's him and like his three other goons that are basically trying to find her, and they find out that she's a lot more dangerous than what they thought she would be, and so it turns into like this really like gruesome, violent like action film, horror action, if you will, film. It was really, I thought it was really entertaining. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. It's another film that's not very long, doesn't have a very long running time. I think it's about an hour and a half, also maybe a couple minutes more. But yeah, I actually enjoyed this one. It had a lot of good action. I'd say maybe a little more closer to like action horror than horror in my opinion, because there is a lot of action in there, but there's a lot of like gruesome scenes with like eye gouges and and that sort of stuff, and but I thought it was a lot of fun. It's another, like I said, one very simple film. Kind of basically takes place over one day. It's basically all at this like vacation home, if you will, and that surrounded by like woods area that clearly Becky knows very well, and these skinhead Nazi type people don't, and so so it's very interesting. I thought Kevin James was really good as somewhat convincing as a bad guy in this one as well. I thought he did a good job, and his I've seen that other guy in some films. His right hand man, Apex is his name. He's like this giant dude. He's like 6'8" or something like that. That guy is a monster in the film too. He's interesting, and he's kind of conflicted. He's a bad guy too, but he kind of is conflicted about whether he should be following this skinhead guy's lead and that kind of stuff. So there's some interesting drama there also. But I thought it was a fun film. I enjoyed it overall. But definitely one that I would definitely rewatch for sure. So that's my take. What about you, man?
Oh yeah, same thing. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like a combination of like funny games with like a reverse Home Alone kind of.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good synopsis of it, because it's because she's like this kid basically that's like taking on these like four grown men in a nutshell. So
right, with all these really, except it's extremely dark and R-rated.
Yeah, it's very violent. There's no, there's no like slipping on ice and laugh moments, that kind of stuff. It's more like stabbing you in the throat, you know what I mean, gouging out your eyeball, kind of stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
there are some good laughs in there, though.
There are some good laughs, but it's also a very gruesome and violent film, if you will. So
yeah. But I mean, like I think I think most of us can take some enjoyment in watching Nazis get the crap kicked out of them in general. So, kind of like Green Room in that way. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, kind of like where you just really want to see the good guys prevail and take on the nasty skinheads. So, but yeah, I thought she was really good in there. Lily Wilson was really good. I really enjoyed Kevin James in there as well. You know what I mean? I thought he played a pretty, for the most part, convincing, skinhead, and it was fun. He was pretty creepy and a little terrifying in some scenes as well, So I thought he was really good in there also.
I didn't dislike him in that part, but I thought he was kind of a mixed bag a little bit. Like, to me, like he looks pretty scary in this poster, but I don't know, like he looked the part, but I didn't find him scary. You know what I mean? Like I respect that he was going against type. I think it's really cool when anybody wants to try to play a character that's not what's expected. And he definitely looks the part. He's got the shaved head, he's got the beard, he's got tattoos all over him. But I just didn't find him that scary, really. And if you like contrast that with, speaking of Green Room, if you contrast that with Patrick Stewart, who doesn't need any of the tattoos or the beard or anything like that, and to me he was a lot scarier
Yeah, but I mean, Patrick Stewart wasn't also Paul Blart for many years, or you know what I mean? Like Kevin James has only done comedy, so this is a complete turn for him. I mean, even Patrick Stewart, he's always had more serious, not necessarily a bad guy, but he's always been more serious in most of his roles, anyways. You know what I mean? Whereas, Kevin James has always been more of a comedian and everything. So this is completely opposite of who he's ever played. Whereas I felt like Patrick Stewart, it wasn't that much of a leap, for him to be, because he can be even in X-Men, he seems serious a lot of times. You know what I mean? He's like kind of like the serious one in there. So it wasn't that big of a leap. I felt like, whereas him, it was more of a leap, and I thought he did a pretty decent job, in my opinion. So, I mean, was he the most terrifying person I've ever seen on screen? No, absolutely not. But I thought he was pretty good, and he seemed like he might have been a little conflicted. His character might have been a little conflicted about certain things also, which I don't know, I thought kind of added to it a little bit also. So I don't know, he seemed like there were some things that he was like kind of, he was a bad guy, but I didn't feel like he was they didn't make him like completely as evil as I felt like they could have, you know what I mean? But he was definitely a bad guy, and I thought he did a decent role in it, so I didn't mind it. So
yeah,
that's my take. So
he was fine. I just didn't think it was. I just didn't find him that scary, I guess. So, but it was. I really enjoyed the movie, though. It was a very entertaining movie. Yeah, and she was great. She was fantastic. So it's just a good simple B movie. Little girl versus Nazis with violent booby traps, and it's got a lot of yes moments kind of in there.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
If you hate Nazis, anyway.
Yeah. If you hate Nazis, if you're a Nazi sympathizer, you might not enjoy it.
yeah. But I don't care what Nazi sympathizers like either. So.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, let's get to those reviews. The Wretched, your overall grade and face you would give it.
The Wretched, I give a strong 4 out of 5. It's a B+. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was suspenseful. It was well acted. It was just a good, fun, supernatural horror movie. Gave me good Fright Night vibes too. So I give it a B+. I give it this face, which is a good, solid, big smile. Not quite my ecstatic face, but maybe 5 years from now it'll be that one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go a little lower than that, of course. I'm gonna give it probably a 3 out of 5 for me. I like I said, overall, I didn't think it was a bad film. It just, it wasn't. Like I said, there was just so many films that it reminded me of that were better that just made me want to go back and rewatch some of those films, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5, and I'll give it this face, which is a slight smile, but no teeth. And I think that's fair.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my grade. And Becky, overall grade and the face you would give it.
Same thing, pretty much. I give it a 4 out of 5, a solid B+, which is same face again right here. So just a good, strong smile. If I had, both of these, I had no qualms about. A few of these, we've done where, we had to pay to watch them. A few I've kind of regretted it, but neither of these I regretted it. I felt like it was money well spent. I had a really good time with both of these.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that either one of them I would say was terrible. I mean, the Wretched was a little more expensive. It was like, if it was like $3.99, I would have probably been like, oh, okay, that was fair. But yeah, when you're paying $7 for it, it's kind of like, I mean, but granted, if we were going to the theater and watching either one of these films, we would of course be paying double of that. You know what I mean? So it'd be like $14-15 easy. So
right.
Not including all the condiments and all the other stuff that comes along with it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and when I think back about like all the movies I've spent, $12 on just to get inside.
And they were horrible. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I've spent at least $10, $12, $15 on films that I hated. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, like that was a total waste of money. But you don't even care. You just, because you were already there. And I don't know, it's experience. I feel a little bit different when I'm at home and I have so many options of films that I can watch for free versus ones I think that makes a big difference also. So
yeah, but these days it's almost like I don't know if this is the same for you, but these days it's so like I mean neither of us have been to the movies in like
at least
4
3
months.
months.
Yeah, four by now.
Yeah, almost 4. Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. So
yeah, I just see one in like I don't know. Towards the very middle of March, right before everything. I saw The Hunt like on like the 12th of like March or something like that. So
okay, yeah. So yeah, I think the last movie I saw was like the first week of March, so a little bit longer. But
yeah,
I don't know about you, but like to me, like it's been so long since I've been to a movie that the act of because I don't do it very often, the act of actually paying to rent a movie is actually a little bit of a thrill for me because it's kind of like I'm going to the movies. I bought a ticket, I'm here. I've got my popcorn. I'm going to the movies, So I kind of don't mind, buying a ticket. I guess you could say for these movies, even though what I mean is, yeah. Even if they're not, it's worth a little bit of excitement at least at the beginning. But neither of these I thought were a waste of money. So
cool.
Yeah.
For me, for Becky, I'm probably going to give it the same grade you gave it. I think I'll give it a 4 out of 5 also. I really enjoyed it quite a bit. It's very simple, but I had fun. I thought it was a fun film. So I'm going to give it a 4 to 5, and I'm going to give it this face, which is a smile with teeth. So yeah,
all right.
So that's about as good as it gets for me, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. 4 out of 5. It's your highest rating.
It's not my highest rating, but yeah. But but no, it was fun. Definitely one that I mean, based on how the rest of this year goes, could be a top 10 contender for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, can I even do a top 10 this year? I don't know. But if things don't start opening up soon, then your top 10 will probably be filled with a bunch of like Amazon and Netflix rentals, pretty much. So
yeah.
I mean, I think I've only seen like maybe 7 or 8 films like that came out in theaters this year. Maybe less than that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm not even counting theaters this year. It's got to be. I don't know. Who knows when movie theaters are going to reopen? I know they were going to, but I don't think they're going to for a little while now.
Yeah.
But
because they've already pushed back. They've already pushed back Tenet, which was supposed to come out in July. That got pushed back to August already. And who knows if that's even going to happen because supposedly they're re-shutting things back down again. So I don't know. So
I've seen 31 movies this year. I would be, the top 10 I've got right now when, I mean, I like them all a lot. But it would be a weird top 10 if I did it right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. There's nothing that I could say that I necessarily was blown away by, most of the films on that list that I would make for our top 10 right now. But, it is what it is. So we'll see what happens with the second half of the year or whatever case may be. But yeah, definitely. Well, cool.
Right.
Well, with that said, thanks for watching once again. As always, if you like this channel and like the show, be sure to give us a thumbs up, and always make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of the next uploads that we do. And we will be uploading a new video soon. Thank you guys again for watching, and we hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much.